Mac and Mac. John McMullen and Jody McDonald here for the next 2 hours to give you insight, opinion, and maybe a yuck or two over the next 119 minutes. John McMullen, yesterday, Nick Sirianni got a chance to sit down and talk to you guys, the beat crew that covers him on a day in, day out basis. Good to know that he's an equal opportunity chain pizza eater and that Little Caesars was the pizza of choice this week.
Gotta go local, Jody. I'm upset at Nick Sirianni. You gotta go local.
One of the better lines I heard on WIP yesterday, I was driving around in the afternoon, shaming him as an Italian, that how can a true Italian go with chain pizza when there are so many great local restaurants? That's what we wanted to get into. Heritage shaming for the head coach of the Eagles on a week of the championship game.
You know, for all the pandering he does for these people, you think they'd give him a pass occasionally. But unless you win, no passes. No passes given.
Unless you're directly pandering to that individual, yeah, you're putting yourself out there for potential criticism, which is it's so ludicrous. It's funny. The coach did kind of open the door for Avante Maddox. We're hoping we can get him. We hope we can get him up to speed. Off what you have or haven't been able to see at practice or whatever, it seems like a pretty good long shot to me still. And I have been woefully wrong about Avante from the time he got hurt. The fact they didn't put him on IR, I thought, all right, well, he's going to be back. Maybe I needed to factor more in that he had been in IR previously. So if they did it again, it wasn't going to be a 4-week. It was going to be an end of season injury. So they're just crossing their fingers and hoping. I thought that last week was a possibility. Didn't happen. This week's still a possibility, but I think it's optimistic at this time. Super Bowl, did they hold out on Avante Maddox, not shut him down for the year, solely on the possibility that they made the Super Bowl?
Well, solely on the possibility he'd be back. You weren't wrong at that point. And if you do put him on IR again, he's shut down completely. So you want to have that that versatility, so to speak. And remember, I mean, game day rosters are 46. So you got to sit down people anyway. So you know, there's no real harm in keeping him on the roster. And if there's any chance that he's going to be back for any potential game. And yeah, I mean, Thursday's the big day this week. That'll be the big practice day. They'll have a Wednesday walkthrough. And if he's back on the field, that's a good sign that they're trying to get him ready for this particular game. I think he's very important for this game for the reasons I stated yesterday. This team works the middle of the field. This team's very good working the middle of the field, and they break a lot of tackles and they get a lot of yards after catch. So the more people you can have, Avante and CJ Gardner-Johnson specifically, you know, those are playmakers. So to have them against the 49ers playmakers would be a big boost to this defense. And there's a chance, I mean, guys fight through things this time of year that they maybe would not fight through earlier in the season. So, you know, San Francisco, you know, Christian McCaffrey's dealing with a calf injury. Well, Kyle Shanahan already said he's playing. You know, guys are playing this time of year if they can get out there. So Thursday is the big day with Avante Maddox.
Do the Eagles, and this is a difficult question to ask, but I'll ask it of you anyway. Let's say he's not 100%, that they can tell he's not 100%, that he's not full of Avante Maddox. Deactivate him anyway for depth purposes, to use him part-time, to have him be a quote-unquote substitute, or does Avante Maddox need to be a Avante Maddox to be up on game day?
Well, I don't think he has to be 100% from a medical standpoint. There's so many guys are banged up here that this time of year that aren't even on the injury report. I mean, that's how the NFL is. So from a medical standpoint, it's more of, can you hurt yourself more? Are you putting yourself at more risk if you go out there? The answer to that is no. And it's just a pain tolerance issue, like Jalen Hurts, like Lane Johnson. Those are pain tolerance issues. They're going to be cleared if they want to go. There's a lot of things that go into it. They have to want to fight through it. The team has to be comfortable with it. And at the end of the day, like I said, a lot of NFL players play injured. Not there's a difference, as the old cliche around the league. Are you hurt or are you injured? If you're injured, you're out. If you're hurt, you're out there in the NFC Championship game. In this particular case, Avante's been out for a while. That factors in as well, because you have conditioning issues. Is he ready to play from that standpoint? Whole bunch of things come into it. But this time of year, it's all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck. And the Eagles have done a nice job sort of navigating without him both times. But they've had some ups and downs. They're clearly not the same team when he's out there. They did a nice job, maneuvering and putting C.J. Gardner-Johnson in that sort of hybrid role. So he's playing both safety and nickel corner, depending on what they need. But, at some point, the best 11 on the field, as well as Reed Blankenship has played, you'd rather have Avante Maddox on the field.
I agree. And your point about CJ playing a combination role, it just goes to add to the importance of CJ Johnson. What an acquisition that was by Howie Roseman.
Yeah, people are stealing his car. You see that?
Unbelievable. Not what you want to see the week of the championship game when you're staying home for the game. You work all those weeks to get that home field advantage for the biggest game of the year in your conference. And they go steal one of their star players' cars before the. I'm guessing the individual who robbed the car didn't know it was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
No. Well, he shouldn't steal it anyway. But hopefully some people give you some what on the back end of that for stealing CJ's car.
Yeah, we'll see. If someone in the crew is a diehard Eagle fan, there might be heck to pay. All right. The other thing that was of interest to me, and Sirianni was his usual self. He didn't give you a whole hell of a lot, but he at least does it with a smile on his face. He was asked about A.J. Brown and the shots that the television crew got of A.J., a little disconsolate on the sidelines, didn't get a ton of balls going his way. As Sirianni correctly pointed out, we ran the ball as much as we did. Guess what? We didn't throw it to Goddard as much as we could have. We didn't throw to Devonta as much as we could have. We were so effective running the ball, just cut down on the number of passes that we threw, which was dead on accurate. But AJ didn't look all that happy on the sidelines. The coach said he was having a physical issue. And that's just the way the game plan went. But he has no issue, no problems whatsoever. Of course, he's going to say that this week. Is there an issue there, or is it just as soon as the game's over, all right, a little disappointed you didn't get the ball enough? That's all that matters. Let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers. Didn't know it at the time, but you know it now. There's not a problem there with A.J. Brown, is there?
No, I think what you just said there at the end is more of the sort of take I would have on it. Saw him in the locker room. He was fine. He was happy. He was celebrating with everybody. So it wasn't a situation where it was, woe is me, I didn't get the football. And this has happened throughout the season. It started week 1 in Detroit. Remember, we talked about if Devonta Smith didn't catch a pass in Detroit. Oh, how are they going to get and he ends up setting a franchise record for receptions by receiver. This is an offense where, it's going to be different people each week. And that was a running game, 268. Now, if you run it and you run it and you run it and you're not having success, well, maybe there's an issue then. And maybe some of the receivers get upset and say, what the heck are we doing here? But they ran for 268. They won 38-7. It's kind of hard to complain when that happens. And if you do complain, you look like a you-know-what. But, AJ's like every star receiver. He wants the football. And that's pretty much what Nick said. Of course he wants the football. Everybody wants the football. And especially when it's a postseason game because there's more eyes on you. But this was a game, and I give the Eagles coaching staff credit. I give Shane Steichen credit all the time. Look, he came into this game pretty evident, and I'll get to talk to Shane today. But I know what he's going to say. I mean, Zach Pascal was out there. Jack Stoll was out there. He saw something in this Giants defense, probably those linebackers to be obvious, but even up front, he saw something that said we can run the football down this team's throat, and they did. So it's hard to complain.
Agreed. And by the way, just in case AJ's listening this morning, I'm going to take the under 262 running against this 49er defense this week. If Shane Steichen sees that again, he will be shocked. I will be shocked. This is a different defense you're facing than the Giant defense last week. Oh, I think you're going to need to throw the ball a little bit more, which means your number's going to get called, AJ, which means get ready to make some big plays because the Eagles will not run the ball the same way they did against the Giants, against the 49. I know I'm going way out on a limb here, predicting the Eagles
under
not getting
268.
262 yards rushing against the best defense in the NFC. I'm taking a wild hot take stance here, but yeah,
I'd like that prop bet if you can get it. I'd go under 268.
You go under 262. Yeah, you and I could
268. 268.
268. Sorry. Well, yeah. I'll set the number 262.
262. So all right.
At least have to think about it. How does like minus 2,000 sound? That's would be the number. You'd have to put up 200 to make 10. Would be my guess on that coming up this weekend. All right, coming up with us in just a couple minutes is one of our faves. Marcus Hayes, been covering the Eagles for a long time, been covering the entire sports landscape here in Philadelphia for years, does it for the Philadelphia Inquirer, the old ink-stained wretch himself from the Yankee and WIP. Marcus Hayes, going to be our first guest up here on Championship Week Tuesday on Birds 365.